Hello USD 489. I'm just going to walk you through a couple of steps here for getting your Canvas courses ready for the new semester. Of course, the first thing that you want to do is publish your courses. You can wait till Monday morning to do that, but I doubt any of your students will log in this weekend anyway. So when you click the publish icon, notice it changes from the gray to green to show that it is published. If you still see red on unpublished, then your course is currently unpublished. You got to see the green published. All right, so then we want to go to the course settings. I'll have to zoom out here a little bit to get there. So we're going to go to course settings. And then there's a new button over here at the right that I've enjoyed using in order to make sure that all of the links in the course are working properly. So if I click here, Start Link Validation, it's going to check through every link in your course to make sure that it's ready for student use. Sometimes a file from a previous course doesn't come over correctly, or maybe a link is set to something in a previous course as opposed to in the current course. So it does take a little bit for that to occur, but it will show you exactly what isn't working for your students so that you can go ahead and edit those links and have them ready for the first day of class. I'm going to pause the video now so that it can finish doing this process. Alright, so the process has completed, and you can see here that it found 22 unresponsive links. For some of these, it's simply because the thing that the link is set to is unpublished. So if you haven't published something, then the link to that thing will not work until the item is published, whether that item be an assignment or a file or a page or any of those things. So you have to make sure they're published. But in the case of this next one, if we click on the blue link that goes to the unresponsive link, this one happens to be a page, and you can see here that the page is published, so that's not the problem. But it's possibly that one of these links here isn't going to work for your students. So you want to go ahead and click Edit on your page and update each of those. And then when you restart, back here on this one, when you restart the link validation, you'll be able to confirm that you updated it properly. So that's kind of a nice feature. All right, the next thing that we want to do here in settings, so I'm going to go back to settings again for the course, is clean up the course navigation. So here across the top we have several options, but the middle one is navigation, and less is definitely more when it comes to navigation. So if you're not using one of these Canvas tools, it's great to disable it, because then it will end up not showing up for students. Again, it's still accessible to you. All of these are always accessible to you. But the gray ones don't show for students, and some of them, if you're not using them, you want to turn them off. Okay, so I'm going to disable announcements, and you'll notice that it drops announcements down here to the bottom of the list. All right, and Ted is not currently using discussions, so I'm going to disable that. We don't want students to check their grades here in Canvas. It's up to you whether or not you leave this on. Just remember that if you do leave it on, that you let your students know that they need to check their grades in PowerSchool, as that's where their final grades actually exist. So you can turn that one on or off. Students don't need to know who's enrolled in your class, so you can disable people. The syllabus feature, unless you use that as your home page, it's just a list of due dates. That's not your syllabus, like the file that you actually hand out to students during the first week of school. Okay, so I'm going to disable that. They don't need to see your rubrics. You can attach those to an assignment without having this published, so I'm going to disable that. If you're using quizzes and modules, great, leave them published. But if you're not using quizzes and modules, I would encourage you to disable them. We don't schedule conferences here in Canvas, so disable that. If you haven't learned how to use collaborations or you haven't set up a team activity here in Canvas, you want to disable that. Although if you want to learn to do that, I'd be happy to help you with it. We don't take attendance here in Canvas, so disable that. We don't want students chatting here in Canvas, so you want to disable that. Middle school people, you don't use Lockdown Browser. High school people, that's totally up to you. We do pay for that service for you. So middle school people, you want to disable that. All right, and then if you use OneNote or use Office 365 for your class, both of those things are here, but if you don't use them, again, you can disable them. I would encourage you to learn to use the Office 365 integration, as the students can access their OneDrive and all their files right here in Canvas and turn those in without actually uploading from another source. Okay, And you want to leave monitoring and reporting turned on. We use that to make sure that your course is talking to PowerSchool correctly. So once you've cleaned that up, scroll all the way to the bottom and click the blue Save icon. You can change those settings at any time, so if at some point you're like, oh, you know what? I want to have a discussion board. Just come back here to navigation and scroll to the bottom, and instead of it being disable, it now says enable, and you can enable discussions. And it pops it back up here. All of these are drag and droppable, so if you need to reorder them, you can switch them around at any time. But just remember, down here at the bottom when you're finished, to click Save. All right, as you're getting ready for this semester, if there's anything I can do to assist you, please don't hesitate to email or call. Have a great day.